Hello friends, Paulie here from HardDrive Radio, and we are joined in the studio today by Baltimore's favorite sons, CharmCityDevils.
Hey.
Guys, thank you so much for coming up to see us
Thank you
today.
for having us, man.
Absolutely. I feel like it's been a minute since we heard from you guys. It's so great to have you guys back with new music. Tell me, what's been going on the last 3 years?
Well, we took a hiatus. A couple of the guys, the original guys, really had other family commitments and such, like taking kids to soccer games. It happens, man, and it's cool. So I'd started a side project called Stone Horses. We put out a couple little EPs and stuff, and then one of the Charm City Devils fans, this guy Jeff Burris, he's followed my career for a long time, a local guy in Baltimore, and he wound up being diagnosed with brain cancer, and he's had several surgeries, and he uses one of the Charm City Devils songs, one of our older songs called Unstoppable, as a fight song, as a rallying song for getting emotional before he goes into surgery. And I kept thinking, like, man, I want to play that song for him again, and there are other Charm City Devil songs that I'd like to play as well, and so it was kind of the impetus for us pulling the name out of mothballs and getting back to it,
And we're really glad that you did. I mean, it's what the EP that you guys have coming out, I'm sure is just going to be like fantastic. What I've heard of it so far, I've really, really loved.
Thank you.
When did the work start on putting these songs together? When did you guys kind of get together, start writing?
When did the work start? It seems like it's never ended. Just a few months ago, I guess. Skip and Stone was the one that kind of started a while back. Maybe about a year ago or so, and then the other songs kind of fell in line. There were a couple ideas like Tides Are Changing, the third song on the EP. That was a riff that Teddy had a while back.
Yeah, that's
and we just sort of finished it off.
About maybe at least a year, I'd say.
And Dollar Signs is pretty new. We just wrote that after the first of the year. Ted came up with this great guitar riff, and I was like, wow, man, I hope I don't screw this up lyrically and melodically,
When you guys are writing, is it usually like a riff that starts with it and then the lyrics kind of come towards the end, or?
It's all different,
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a beat, sometimes it's a riff, sometimes I hear like the whole thing in my head, and those are usually not the good ones. They don't ever turn out. They sound better up here.
Sometimes it's a dream.
Right.
When you're writing, is it like all of you guys together in a room just kind of jamming out, or how does it work?
Not all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's real tough, because we do have busy lives, so it depends. I mean, a lot of times, what happens is sound checks kind of, somebody starts playing something and I'll record it. Those are great times for, when you're out on the road and doing stuff. And then I've got this backlog of voice memos on my phone. Actually, they're slowing down. I have so many. Like, I'll hit it to play it back and it'll be like a minute. It'll take like a minute for it to start. I'm like, I better start clearing these off,
When you have your songs ready and you're ready to go in to record, what studio do you go to?
I have a studio in my house.
Oh, perfect.
So the only thing that we outsource is mixing a lot of times and mastering.
So you guys are just kind of doing everything yourselves as far as that go?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's pretty self-contained.
Is it something that you enjoy doing? Is it fun, or is it kind of like the hard work that just has to get done?
I love it. I mean, I guess I get pretty obsessive, OCD. I get down there and I'm like,
You guys are laughing. Is that an understatement?
Well,
Rick was,
I'm glad he is, because it means we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. he was telling a story. We were talking the other day. He's like, I'll sit back there, and he's like, and you'll play a part over and over in a loop, and he's like, I don't know what he's doing, And then I'll be listening for something, and then something else will catch my attention, and it's like, I become hyper focused on that. So, yeah, it can drive me a little crazy. I'm a little nuts, I guess.
Well, perfection is hard to achieve, so you got to work hard at it, right?
Yeah, I'm nowhere close. So
You're getting there. You're getting there.
I'm trying. Thanks.
I believe it. The EP is called 1904.
Right.
Can you give us the historical significance and maybe why you guys chose to call it that?
Yeah, we talked about being from Baltimore, and we talked about, the current events in the last several years, about how, it's been a struggling city like so many big cities in the U.S. And we thought about that, and we're thinking about ways to pay tribute to our hometown, town that I love, and we thought about the Great Baltimore Fire, and it occurred in 1904. And I was thinking, the city rose literally from the ashes. Much of the downtown area was burned to the ground. Very few buildings survived. And so I thought, if they can come back, if we can come back from that, hopefully we can come together and we can come back from this latest struggle that the city's incurring right now.
I mean, the one time I've been to Baltimore in recent memory, I went down to that waterfront there. It's like all nice and developed. It's a really lovely area. So
yeah.
I didn't get what everyone was saying. I was like, this is great. I love this city. It's freaking awesome. I mean,
it is beautiful. It's beautiful around the water. There's an area called Fells Point. It's one of the oldest seaports, I guess, in the U.S. and it's called a den of pirates by the British when they were fighting us, and so that really it kind of speaks to Baltimore and the ethic there, I guess. But yeah, I mean it's beautiful. There are rough areas, certainly, just like any big city, and anything can happen, I think, anywhere these days. Sure. But yeah, I mean I was down there this past weekend, and I just thought how great it is, how beautiful and how much history is there. I mean, the national anthem was written in Baltimore, so yeah, it's a thing that I'm really proud of being from the town.
I think it's a nice tribute, coming out with this EP to as you said, rising from the ashes. It's a beautiful imagery, and then I hope everybody understands the significance of that.
Yeah.
The photo that's on the cover of the EP, that's a pretty historic, famous photo. Did you guys have to do any legal wrangling or?
Oh shoot!
Fight rights on it? Did you just go ahead?
I sorted it all out.
It'll be fine later.
That's a famous photo, is it?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
I believe I've seen it before.
I
so
took that
it's
one.
At least famous.
It's on my iPhone.
You were there. You took that picture, right?
I pulled it up, and it's so trippy looking. It almost looks like one of those 70s hypnosis covers to me, because there are all these dudes in bowler caps, each facing a different way, and then there's this mist, which is it's smoke from the fires kind of surrounding them. It's a very strange photo, and I just thought this looks great. Let's steal. I mean, use this. No, it's public domain, right?
Yeah, it should be all right. I mean, let's talk about the single, which is "Skipping Stone." Tell me a little bit about where your minds were when you guys were writing that one.
That song. Lyrically, I think it's really about making the choice of pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, and I've struggled with depression pretty much almost all my life, and sometimes, depending on the severity, I mean, there are certainly people that can't pull out of it, and it's really hard for me sometimes. But sometimes you can make a choice of really getting negative and getting down on how things are happening, and then or you can make a choice to be more positive about things, take a different mindset, and at the same time, I think the lyrics also say, be appreciative for the time you have here. Live your life as best as you can, because you never know when it's going to end. So to me, that's kind of what the message is there, and the approach to that song. Yeah.
Does he ever share lyrics with you guys, and you ever worry about him sometimes? Hey man, is everything all right?
We say, don't do that one. I'll worry about him outside of the lyrics. That's all right, yeah.
One of the other songs that you played for us today in the studio is a song called Dollar Signs. Just give me a little background on that one and what went into it.
Well, that was one, like I said earlier, is Ted came up with this killer riff, and I was like, oh, I got, super stoked about it. And, we tracked it. We had that tracked probably in really February or March. But I kept doing rewrites on the lyrics, over and over again. I wanted it to be right, and it took a while. Honestly, I mean, and that's a thing where with songwriting, sometimes it is a little work, But again, my OCD kind of takes over, and I start to, just obsess and like every day, and like I said, I've probably got 100 voice memos of different lyric versions and melodic lines for that song, until I settled on this final version.
That one, I mean, it went through we had 3 completely different songs written for that.
Only 3?
Well, it was funny. It was for musically, that was one of the songs for me anyway. It kind of I wrote that one really quick, and I think
came together fast.
We changed a little bit, and then we were sitting there okay, now what do we do for the melody? And he and every one that he sent me, it was he was awesome. It was yeah, this song's great. He's no, I got a new one, and it was even better. I'm
over
awesome. He's no, I got a new one. Check this out.
Don't like that one. Yeah, I was in my brain. I was thinking about the Who and how that Pete Townsend could write these timeless songs and writing about We Don't Get Fooled Again, that was the original idea behind that song, and changed and grew. And it's real hard to write songs I think like that because I never want to come off too preachy, and I think it's better telling visual stories sometimes rather than trying to dictate something to the listener, whatever.
Absolutely. That's the thing that gets me about some of my favorite rock music. It's about telling a story, and the writers who can pull that off really well are the ones that really grab my attention. And so that's what I find compelling, especially about rock and roll, because I feel it's the perfect medium for that.
Yeah, when you can paint a picture. Another guy I think that does that really well is Brent from Shinedown.
Oh, absolutely.
And when you're painting you're painting a picture, with your lyrics, and you just take the listener there, it's incredible. I much respect for him.
So
as
when,
a singer too, he's amazing.
When are you guys bringing the show out on the road? What do you got planned for coming up?
We were just talking about that on the way up here. We've got a bunch of stuff coming up. We're doing some regional stuff around Maryland, Mid-Atlantic, in December, and then after the first of the year, we'll kick into more shows. We're going to head out to the Midwest and do some radio stuff out there.
Beautiful. 2020 CharmCityDevils are coming to your city. Be ready. New EP is 1904. It's coming out November 22nd. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you,
man.
Really
Thank you.
Appreciate it.